This is the Water Your Garden podcast. I'm Sarah Michaels. This episode is all about you, your chance to water your own garden, pour into your own life, and grow. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whenever you're joining us. For me, it is midnight. I am sitting on the ground in our unfinished basement with a heavy anthropology blanket over my head, recording this intro to get this posted in time. But it is all good because I'm so excited about this topic. If you are interested in wellness or nutrition, chances are that you are because you're listening to this podcast. And chances are that you have also heard about the raw milk craze lately. I can tell you that I've been hearing about this everywhere for about a year and a half now. Raw milk, if you don't know, is milk that has not been pasteurized. In a lot of states like Michigan, you cannot legally buy raw milk unless you are a part of a herd share, which is essentially when you buy into a share of a cow. So you technically own some of the cow and its milk. All of this is how I found our guest today, Carrie Bindara of Bindara Family Farm in Gregory, Michigan. Carrie is a mom of two who, like many, grew concerned about the hormones and the chemicals put into so much of the dairy that we consume, as well as the treatment of the animals that we are putting into our own bodies. So Carrie started raising her own cow and her own chickens on her own property and began a herd share to, as she says, be a part of the solution, not the problem. In this conversation with Carrie, we are talking about how she went about getting her very first cow, how she convinced her husband of that, the lack of relationship that we have with our food in modern day society, where our food comes from, the benefits of raw milk, and this is a very selfish one, if it is really logical to raise your own chickens in the suburbs. Carrie Bindara, welcome to Water Your Garden.
Oh, thank you so much. This is so exciting.
Oh, of course. It was a beautiful drive out here. We're in Gregory, Michigan. Mm-hmm. This is your family farm. I'd love to start off. How did you guys end up here? What was your journey to farming?
It all goes back when I was little. I was impressioned by my great Aunt Opal and Uncle Ernest.
Good names.
And yeah, they sound like farmers.
Yeah.
But they didn't start off that way. They were up here just raising a family, working at GM. Like their kids came out of high school like in 65. So like kind of that generation, like my mom's generation was their kids. And they took an early retirement and moved to Tennessee, took their retirement and bought a farm. So they had like heads of cattle, they had pigs. I remember them having eggs, a big garden. And as a kid, I would go there to visit my grandmother over the summer, and they were not far from her. And so we would like go and stay at Aunt Opal and Uncle Ernest's house for a couple weeks, and we would call the pigs and we would gather eggs, and it was so magical. And I was left with the impression that they had just always been farmers. And so I grew up just thinking like, yeah, we have farmers. And then my dad's family also was farmers, but they are over on like the west coast of Michigan. The Pearsons, I guess, are a big farming family.
Oh, okay.
Big farming name over there.
Yeah.
I don't know much about that side of the family's farming though, but as far as the ones down in Tennessee, I was having a conversation with my mom, and it came up that they had taken the early retirement and started the farm like at that stage of their life. And it was just like, blew my mind. I was like, you mean like it had never occurred to me, I guess. I'd never given it thought to that you could just become a farmer.
Yeah. So farming was their retirement.
Was their retirement.
Wow.
Yeah. Like they raised beef cattle, and it was just amazing. It was really cool. I remember my mom was wearing red shorts, and we went in to meet the cattle, and the bull was having like a fixation on my mom.
Oh.
And my Uncle Ernest was like, I think you need to get out of here.
Yes.
Yeah, it was really entertaining, and it really, stuck out in my memory. But then we've been having this grassroots movement. A lot of it had to do with in my own personal wellness journey, and then of course becoming a mom, just the focus of like ingredients and, the non-GMO, and just like these things started coming into my focus. And this was like
putting in our body.
Yeah, like 15 years ago. And then it just grew, I learned more. And from that, I had more questions. And then I would learn more and then have more questions. It really got down to like, gosh, what are we doing to our food? Like, we don't have a relationship with our food. Where's the food coming from? Like we don't even relate beef in a package at the store to like a living animal that has babies and bonds and things like that. And quite honestly, over the years, it just kind of became like the next thing to do. I mean, I could run myself ragged at the grocery store, going from store to store to store, which I do sometimes anyways, but it was more about how can I be part of the solution? How can I contribute to the change that I want to see?
I love that.
You know, so
you decided to start this.
I mean, we have 2.5 acres. It's not much. I didn't know how much you could do, but I just started doing the research, like how many animals can the land carry, you know, what's legal. And of course, each area is going to be different, but you'd be amazed. I mean, what you can do. We already pay property taxes. So I'm like, there's also that part of me where I'm like, how can I get my money back out of this land? You know? So anyways, yeah.
So you decide to start a family farm. What year was this, and what's the first thing that you did?
So chickens kind of found us, although it had been conceptually in my mind and a goal to achieve. We were in a rental at the time, and we had centipedes pretty badly.
Okay.
To the point where, it was gross, and I wasn't comfortable with the chemical. They had come in and sprayed it with chemicals trying to get rid of the centipedes, and it killed my son's lizard.
Wow.
And so just researching kind of a different way to go about things, I was kind of curious. I wonder if chickens eat centipedes. I mean, that's how little I knew.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know the answer to that.
Right. And so I looked into it and I was like, I think we might be onto something. And this is like my gateway. Like, this is my segue.
The way to like explain to your husband why you need chickens.
Because it killed the lizard and we're going to get chickens for the centipedes. That's it. And then we eggs.
Yes.
So we got chickens and it was a hit. Although it was weird.
Because were they in the basement?
The centipedes were in the basement.
So did you put the chickens in the basement?
No, the centipedes were making nests or laying eggs, I guess, on the wall. I don't really know how it happens, but there was an infestation coming in through the walls.
Oh, wow.
Which,
So by putting chickens outside.
They cured the centipede problem from outside.
Wow.
I know.
That's so interesting. And
Very
also
interesting.
It's, once again, which I think a lot of people are leaning into, it's getting to the root of the problem rather than putting a Band-Aid. So
and creating more of a problem. Sometimes
figuring out where they come from rather than just spraying something and killing.
Right. And sometimes the cure can be worse than the disease, right?
Yeah.
You know, the chemicals. So yeah, absolutely. It was just like, oh my gosh, this is so cool. And I felt like I tapped into some wisdom. That's always available for us.
Yeah.
You know, getting back to the natural rhythms and allowing nature, the art of observation, like observing nature in her balance. And it's just amazing how, like you said, it just got to the root of the problem, but then it created good.
Yes.
It was like the chickens are eating centipedes, but then they're giving eggs.
Yeah. So win-win.
And it was like, whoa.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was like all of a sudden this problem became like life-giving. It was really cool.
Oh, so you got the chickens.
Got the chicken.
And then we're at your farm right now. We look out the window. We can see that you have cows. How did cows get into the picture? How did you convince your husband that you need a cow? I need notes.
Instead of a lawnmower.
Instead of a lawnmower. Okay.
Yeah. So like we can either buy gas and, you know, all of the exhaust and all of the upkeep on the equipment, or we can just like turn a cow loose and we have manure. And
I like
then
this reasoning.
we have milk, and then we'll eventually, you know, because you got to get a cow pregnant. She has to have a baby in order to have milk. So then from the baby, we're going to have meat.
Amazing.
So it just made logical sense.
Yes. I hope you're listening, Connor. It just makes logical sense to get a cow. You get a cow. She's beautiful.
She is.
It's Myrna, correct?
Myrna.
Okay. Talk to me about the cow. What was your strategy behind getting your cow? I know that you guys have raw milk and you're talking about the herd share. What was your journey to that, and what was your why behind that?
So, quite honestly, at the time I was just stay at home. I had a couple kids. They were kind of back and forth, not sure if they wanted to be full-time public school or if they were homeschool. So I wanted to stay available still at the home. So I had time on my hands. Especially when they were in school. I was like, wow. So it was my resource, right? I didn't have a lot of money because it goes into our home. You know, my husband is a wonderful, wonderful provider. And I didn't want to take away from the the home.
Income. Mm-hmm.
But I had time as a resource. So
Which
I
is
was
everything.
like, yeah, time and land that we were already paying for. So I was like, I wonder if, I wonder.
Yeah.
And so I did some research on, how much land, how many animals the land could carry, the cost. And then like we were getting, of course I had these dreams and aspirations. So of course I would like guinea pig with our family. Like, okay, so one day when we have a cow, so I would go and get the raw milk herd share. Well, it was like $12 a gallon, and I'm driving 30 minutes out of my way in the opposite direction of my grocery shopping
To get the raw milk.
to get the milk to make sure that my family liked it, because I'm going to have a cow. I just don't know how, because we were in a rental at the time.
Yes. We'll figure that out. We'll get over the whole rental thing. Yeah. But you're talking about how before all of this, before even the cow, you're driving to get the raw milk. Mm-hmm. Raw milk is so controversial. I only started learning about it in the past year, and I was just so fascinated about it. Why were you interested in raw milk and getting it for your family?
Quite honestly, I feel through my own trial and error, through my own experimenting with my own self and my own health, I feel like the more we adulter things, the worse it ends up being for us. And if it's not like an immediate result, it's like the next thing down or the next thing down. It just kind of creates more than it's worth when we could have just left it alone in the first place. Mm-hmm. But I'm also a realist. Like, we do live in a world where people don't take care of their animals, and it's very necessary to pasteurize milk because of the housing of the animals and the condition of the animals, right? Like, but when you consider, or when I consider, when you take care of an animal with the intention of ingesting it as food, you treat them completely different. Yes. They're for one, they're a delight. When I look out in the morning, everything seems right for a moment. Like, chickens are scratching, cows are mooing, milk is coming from her udder. Like, there's a baby who wants at their mom. Yeah. It's just like things are kind of in order, right? The unprocessed milk, though, it still has all its active enzymes, so it's a living food. It's like, okay, there was this thing as a young mom. Mm-hmm. You cannot microwave breast milk.
Right.
And I was appalled by that. I was like, if you can't microwave because it kills the life force in the milk. Any life-giving qualities in the milk, it destroys. And so it's detrimental to the child. Like, it's not good. It will not.
Because you won't have the nutrients.
Right.
Okay.
And that just stuck in my head. Like, oh my gosh. So there's like life-giving nutrients in food that can be destroyed through, is it just through the microwave? And then like throughout my journey of like, organic milk, grass-fed milk, just like all the different types of milk, not dairy milk, like all of this stuff. And I've done it all. I've been vegan. I've been here. And what it came down to is when the milk is being made in the body, I mean, it's a sterile liquid. It's just like urine. You know what I mean? When it becomes an issue is if it's exposed to like any outside like bacteria or germs or things like that. But the one really cool thing about milk when it's left intact is that it has beneficial enzymes that if there is anything from the outside that gets in, it has the ability to fight it off. But when we sterilize milk by ultra pasteurization and any outside bacteria gets in, it's defenseless. It's spoiled. So it could make you sick.
Right.
But raw milk is actually alive. So it actually has a defense mechanism. It's the coolest thing.
Is it with raw milk, one of the biggest things is that it just can't live on a shelf as long?
We have a customer who comes and picks up once a month.
Really? And so their milk that they're getting from you guys at the farm lasts a month?
Throughout the month.
Wow.
But there's also, I think the cream going to the top also has a lot to do with it. Like when I make bone broth, the fat will rise and it will solidify on top. And so it's almost like you have to crack into it. And I scrape it off and feed it back to my chickens. Oh, morbid, amazing. But still, like whatever.
Yeah.
It's a chicken. They don't know any better. I think that it has like a sterilizing quality, like a protective quality, just like the cream kind of provides a protective quality. And if it's not being disturbed, if it's not being opened, if it's not being like taken out and brought up to room temperature and if it's safe handling, I mean, if it tastes fine, it is fine. And also, raw milk doesn't spoil. It doesn't putrefy. It will change composition. So in the microbial world, all the lactic acid will get eaten up and then it'll become tangy from the acetic acid that is being converted, which makes it a clabber, which makes it kind of like a yogurty taste. And then it'll continue. Like you get sour cream and then you get a clabber and then you get kind of like the whey will separate. So it'll go from like milk and then the cream will separate to the top. And then you'll see it clabber. Like the clabber turns really bright white and the milk turns like dark yellow, like a butter yellow.
Yeah.
It's just fascinating.
What are the benefits of raw milk?
The benefits of raw milk, it's a living food. I mean, it's a living food. The calcium bioavailability. A lot of people claim, I don't know because I'm not lactose intolerant. I know my husband is though. It's more easily digestible for them. I know the proteins, fats, and carbohydrates in them, there's a lot more fat. And also the type of fat that you'll get from mostly grazed pastured milk is super duper. It's like a omega superfood. It's just loaded with conjugated linoleic, like it's CLAs. All of your omegas are perfectly balanced, your 3, 6s, and 9s. A lot of people really enjoy it just because it's thick, creamy. It's like very sweet. It's a whole milk.
Very rich is what I hear.
Very rich. It's more like sweet. It's so good. I have a customer who he'll just like drink it out of the half gallon out of his fridge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you noticed ever since you and your family switched to raw milk, have you noticed any differences?
I was coming out of a period of not poor health, but I was in a period of recovery and it really gave me a vigor. Like it just made me feel like stronger. Oh, and there's this Wurzel factor. I have so many tidbits of information from these books.
Yes.
It's called the Wurzel factor. I believe that's correct. And it's an anti-stiffness factor. So it actually helps with arthritis and joint pains.
Oh, wow. For what it's worth, everyone that we have interviewed who is more into raw milk and ethical eating, I don't want to make it about appearance, but you guys really have like a very healthy glow about you.
Thanks.
We interviewed women who only use beef tallow. They're also drinking raw milk. And both of them, when I saw them, I said, you guys are glowing.
Yeah.
Like I feel like people who are leaning more towards this natural movement, like you can physically see that they are just like feeling healthier.
That's awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, of course. I think you look great. Okay, so you're using the raw milk and then you guys created a herd share, correct? Talk to me about what a herd share is and how it works.
Oh gosh, it was so intimidating to consider because I was like, oh, when you read about raw milk, of course it segues right into a herd share, and considering a cow and all of those things, it was so intimidating. I hadn't even ever considered it. However, once I got the cow, we had so much milk. There was no way. I do not have enough animals to feed to use up all the milk. I mean, she's like 2.5 gallons a day.
That's crazy.
So crazy. And by like 3 days in, my fridge was full. And I'm like, what? Already made yogurt. I'm feeding the dogs. I'm feeding the chickens. I don't know
what am I going to do with this milk?
And so I just started reading up on herd shares.
What is a herd share for people who don't know?
So in the state of Michigan, it's illegal to sell raw milk. It just kind of goes around that whole thing. So it makes it legal for, if you are the owner of a cow, you can legally partake in her products.
So a herd share is essentially where
you are
people
buying a share into ownership of the cow. Let's say you join my herd share. $200 buys your share of Myrna. You become part owner, co-owner, and I become what's called the agister. I'm responsible for her care, her feeding, the milking, dispensing of the milk. I promise to keep the milk clean, the care of the animal well. I stay in communication with the customers. Like I have the duties. You're just the owner who has the privileges.
Okay. And because of that, I can buy raw milk from you.
You don't buy the milk. You pay me for the labor to retrieve the milk.
I see. Okay. You start this, and then what was the reception like? Did people want to?
Oh,
yes.
It was. I knew about Weston A. Price Foundation. I knew about the Raw Milk Finder because I was able to locate
That's how I found you, was the Raw Milk Finder. Yes.
So cool. It was amazing. I was like,
website.
Okay, we'll just see like blah, 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 blah. I was like, guys, what do we want to name our farm? Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
So I just kind of did like, the classified ad thing. And there were so many people.
A lot of people have grown really interested in this.
So many people. And it was so amazing because I actually had people I could talk to about this stuff.
Yeah, who are also geeked out about it. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. My wellness, like farm geeky, like everybody wanted to nerd out on it, or like bleeding hearts that are compassionate for the animals. And it's just amazing. So now I have like a little tribe. Like we always hang out in the garage and talk about all the stuff.
That's so cool.
It is. It's amazing.
So you have the herd share and you're talking to all those people who are also interested. You talked about like bleeding hearts.
Yeah.
I want to get into that. A big reason that I got really interested in herd shares in particular is because I really started to think more about where the meat I was consuming came from. And I can only watch so much because I am very sensitive. So I'll think about whatever visuals I see. But I started to learn about, how the animals are treated that we're consuming. And without getting too into it, I talked to some people who said, a lot of those animals are physically chained up in cages, don't get to move. Yeah. So I was looking for ways that I could find meat and dairy because I still believe in eating it and be ethical about it. Yep. What are your thoughts about also ingesting animals that are essentially like tortured up until consumption?
That's where my drive comes from, is I can be part of the solution. Even if you don't want to join the herd share, come stop by. Like literally, I have a cow in my backyard. My husband and I were standing out there and my husband was like who has a cow?
You do.
Who has a cow in their backyard? And I was like, but think about how much cow we come in contact with every day. Burgers, cheese, dairy, all the dairy products, purses, shoes, couches, like all the leather. Like we come in contact with cattle, cows all day, every day. And he looked at me and he was like, the only thing we didn't have was a relationship. I was like, no way. Yeah, exactly. We just didn't have a relationship. It's so profound to me how far removed we are. Watching Myrna and her calf, or watching the chickens like stretch their leg and feather out in the sun to sunbathe, or like fluff the sand around to take a little dirt bath. It's just so delightful. And so it like feeds my soul before it actually feeds me nutritionally.
Oh, that's beautiful.
It really, really is. Like, it's so delightful. And knowing that I can show up and I can impact this in a positive way that impacts me in a positive way. And it just completes this loop. And to think that we remove that when we put them in cages and we mistreat them. And
there's so many levels to it, because even as at first I'm thinking about how it affects you to consume something that has been essentially tortured and just pumped full of hormones and chemicals. But it also makes me think about how, not to get like real crunchy with it, but we really do live in such a consumer society where we consume so much meat and we're so disconnected. Like, I have to believe having chickens and 2 cows in your backyard, it would have to make me think differently when I eat meat, rather than like, typical America, like shoveling it in. Seeing it in your backyard, I feel like you would respect it and cherish it a bit more, right?
Right. It's not a commodity. It takes time, and there's so many elements to it. But even like the little happiness that like the animals have, like we're eating those endorphins.
Yeah.
Like there's something to it. Like we're eating either terror and adrenaline, or we're eating like endorphins and like oxytocin, like the bonding hormones that the mother and cow are experiencing, or the little happy chicken, whatever.
Yes.
I mean, there's got to be something to it.
Do you believe in that? Do you believe that when you consume an animal that has essentially been tortured, it affects you once you consume that?
Yeah. But also the knowledge that it's been tortured creates an anxiety in me, because I do believe that there's things that we can do that would impact. Every time I choose to purchase this, I'm voting for yes on that.
Yeah, and you're also supporting, like I'm so far from perfect, but I really have been trying to make a more conscious effort to buy meat and dairy. Even though it costs more, I'm supporting people who are treating animals right. So at least like I know I'm a part of the solution. And if everyone did that, it's just another one of those things. But like if everyone cared and we supported the people who weren't treating animals that way, then people wouldn't do it. Yep. Okay, so we agree on that.
We could go on.
Yeah, you have your cow. I keep on getting her name wrong. Myrna. Okay. And then she just had a calf. Tell us about that.
Oh my gosh. So that was our very first time through. I'd never been part of like the artificial insemination process.
Did you inseminate her?
I had a guy come out
Oh,
but I was
wow.
present with the whole thing. Like he sent a little camera down in there and I was able to watch on the visor and you could see the little embryo. It
That's
was
crazy.
amazing. And like we were on baby watch. And then one night after dinner, I went to go check on her to see if she was in labor because it was like a week late.
Yeah.
And there's a calf on the ground.
Oh, you weren't even there. You just came out and the calf was born. Boy or girl?
Boy.
Sonny, that's the name, right?
My husband calls him Chuck.
Oh.
But I was like, well, my granddaughter calls him Sonny.
Okay.
So we call him Sonny.
So now that you're getting more cows, is the goal, so herd shares, a lot of times it's eggs, raw milk, and then also cows as well. Mm-hmm. Is your goal to have more cows and also to sell that meat?
So currently, I don't know what the yield will be. I don't know how long it's going to take for him to grow out. Mm-hmm. Like this is all my first time through.
You're just getting started.
Mm-hmm. If we have an abundance of, absolutely. But as of right now, it's just for my family. But that's what I thought when I was getting the chickens and the cow too.
Yes.
But now we have eggs for sale and now we have milk for sale. So
who knows how big this could get?
But I love it.
Yeah.
I absolutely love it. I would like to go larger just because it's like if I'm going out to milk one cow, I could milk 3. Mm-hmm. If we have chickens to feed, we could feed more. So it's just kind of one of those things. But we'll see. We'll see. It's really great though.
You have the 2 cows. We don't know how much meat is going to come from that, but we were chatting and your chickens that you have, you've already, I don't know the correct phrasing. We love the animals. How do I say this? You've already ate some of your past, harvested. Mm-hmm. You harvested some of your past chickens. You did it completely yourself. Talk to me about that experience and what you did.
Okay. So for the sake of relationship purposes, I want to relate to the animal. I want to relate to the process. And I want to relate to like the spiritual aspect of it. Like there's a transition of life from life to death. And so with the meat chickens, we do have meat chickens. We had a Cornish cross breed last year and I only got 7 because I wanted something small and manageable to do by hand. It was very intimidating and I really didn't know how I was going to do or deal with the whole process. And so I told myself I was going to do everything by hand. Everybody's like, well, are you getting a milking machine? Are you going to, are you getting a plucker? Are you doing this? And I just was like, no, I want to do everything by hand. I want to hold the chicken. Like there's a relationship here, like, and of a high regard, a very, very high regard for this life. We're transferring it to food and now it's giving me life. I mean, it's a huge regard. I wanted to do it all by hand. I just wanted to take my time. And it was the craziest timing. Like the weekend my chickens needed to be processed was the weekend my dad died.
Oh, wow. I'm sorry.
And so I was faced with death and I couldn't handle it. I was like, not that I couldn't handle it. I chose to allow myself to process my father. And then I had to get to the animals. And that's another thing that farming does. Like I have a duty. I have a responsibility. These animals need me to take care. And the Cornish cross is designed genetically in a way where they will not survive much longer.
Okay.
Like they will die of heart failure.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Like, so you look at them and it got to a point where you wanted to put them out of that way of life. Like it became a humane thing to do.
That would make me feel better. So you took their lives, you harvested them.
Yes.
I don't want to get too gruesome about it, but can you walk us through how you did all that?
Yeah. So there is we'll call it a hugging cone. And it hugs the chicken and you put them in it upside down. And there's something to do with when you place a chicken upside down, there's a calming effect. Some people say there's lots of different opinions on that. But what I found was it had a very calming effect on the chickens. Now I would take one personally and hold it close. There was no like wailing it around. It was like just a very calm, like I held my energy very calmly to transfer that.
You are impressive. Even talking about this, I'm getting worked up. I could not do this. I didn't realize how much of the nitty gritty I asked for. Okay, so you took their lives, harvested them. Yes. I think I keep saying this the wrong way. And then you process them for eating, correct?
Yep.
How'd you do that?
So it's, The taking I'm trying to find the words.
The right way to say this, yes.
Sensitive.
You remove their feathers.
Yep.
Okay.
So you'll take them from the cone once they're gone. Once they've passed, then you'll take them to the scalder, and you put just a little bit of dish soap in there, and it helps. You just dunk them at about I think it's 165, and it helps loosen up opens up the pores, so the feathers come out. And then you take them out and you just kind of pluck them, and all of a sudden they look like a grocery store bird with a head and feet.
Wow.
Like, it's like, wow. All of a sudden now there's something recognizable, and I'm like, oh, food now. And then it just became a process of, finding the knuckle, like just removing the head and the feet and eviscerating them, cleaning out their insides, and getting them on ice. And then it was just like a bird. It was just a bird. There was no dunking it in bleach or injecting it with solution or anything. It was just a bird, and we shrink wrapped them and threw them in the freezer. And it was amazing when I put it in the oven, and we had like this bird that was in our backyard.
Yeah.
It was so uncomplicated. It was so wholesome.
Did it taste different?
It tasted amazing.
Did you really feel like it tasted different?
It did not taste all that different.
Okay.
But it mentally
for sure
was so amazing, because I knew like this was just a live chicken. Like it wasn't, I didn't have any questions.
Yes.
I didn't have concerns.
A lot of people, you guys live in like a beautiful rural area and you have so much space. People who live in areas more suburban with less space, there is a move for chickens.
Yeah.
Some people are even fighting about whether or not to have them in communities. For people who do live in more suburban neighborhoods and they have wanted chickens, do you think it's doable for the average person? Would you advise someone to do it?
It's delightful.
Okay, tell us about it.
It's so fun.
It's doable.
Oh, yeah.
Even if you have a job, can you keep up with it? Like a 9 to 5?
I mean, as long as you're home every other day, chickens are so doable. Or you could, like, if you go away for a weekend, just like put an extra feeder and an extra water.
Really?
You know
I want chickens so bad. I have, and my biggest fear was that how am I going to keep up with these chickens and work? What if you don't have a lot of space? How much space do you need to have chickens?
So I would say a very safe rule of thumb, because in the wintertime, if it's really, really, really bad weather, for the interior coop, like where their bedding would be and where maybe some roosting would be, like 3 square foot per bird, just because if they are forced indoors 24/7 for like the harsh winter where it's like, we get those weird polar vortexes where it's like -36. Well, if that comes for like 3 or 4 days, I want them to have an adequate place to live. But most of the time, they're not going to be spending much time in their coop. If they are in their coop, they're roosting for the night and then they're out. If you like Tractor Supply has these amazing little chicken tractors. It looks like a little like RV.
I love that.
And it has 2 little nesting boxes.
Yes.
It has like a little coop that's above the ground. And then below it, with a little ramp, is their run.
I need it.
And you just move it into like a little new piece of grass every day. And you don't have to move them to grass. They could seriously peck around on dirt and you could just throw them scratch greens. They don't have to be mobile. It's just for people to, pasture their chickens. You would need to move it onto grass. But you don't have to.
So chickens, very doable. I know there will be people who listen to this and you've inspired them. They want to become a part of a herd share. I'm getting the vibe that you're pretty booked up. Do you have a list? How's it going?
So we don't have a wait list right now, but we do. I think we probably have one opening left.
Ooh. Okay. So people can get on your list. They can potentially work with you guys.
Yep.
What's the best way to get in contact with you?
Probably the carebearingkids@yahoo.com, my email.
Your email? Okay. We'll put the email in the description then and call you from that.
Bindara Family Farm, Facebook message, Instagram, the Bindara Family Farm. There's all that.
For someone who does feel bad about how animals are treated, they want to be a part of this, but sometimes you have to drive a long time to get to a herd share. If someone is on the fence about joining a herd share or making that change, what would you say to them?
Come out and visit a farm and just see. Like, it doesn't have, you don't have to get the solutions right away, but everything starts it just becomes more clear. Maybe you develop a stronger conviction and it changes the way you do things. You never know. Just come out and visit, ask questions, do your own research. It's just part of the journey.
Okay, last question. After making this huge life shift, so you did it. You talked your family into it.
Oh my gosh.
You got the cows, the chickens, everything. Yeah. What would you say is the number one way that your life has changed because of all of this?
The structure and the grounding that this lifestyle provides, like it was so intimidating to me. Oh my gosh, this cow's gonna rely on me. And oh my gosh, these chickens, and they were like my babies. When I would hear, we would forget to close the coop door and I would hear the chickens squawking in the middle of the night, I'd go flying over the fences without shoes in the dark.
Yeah.
I mean, they're my babies. It's provided so much recreation. I mean, there's always something to do. Mm-hmm. There's always something like mental management. There's always kind of things to be thinking about and considering. And then the seasonality of it, it's only going to last 2 or 3 months. Mm-hmm. One phase. And so it's really helped to fall back into the rhythms that govern.
Cool.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But yeah, the structuring is so nourishing. And it's not something that as I'm getting older, I'm becoming more disciplined in my daily rhythms. But man, it has been so nourishing and so grounding. And so and the delightful factor.
Yes. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of delight out here for sure. Carrie Bindara, thank you so much for coming on Water Your Garden.
Thank you so much.
One of my absolute favorite parts about creating Water Your Garden is talking to you guys about the episodes and everything that we learned. So please DM me your thoughts on this week's episode. Also, if you know a friend who is interested in raw milk or herd shares, share it with them because listen, it's not every day that you make it out to Gregory, Michigan.